Why do we suffer? And where does faith fit in this puzzle of pain? These are age-old questions, etched into the human psyche, as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. Pain and suffering, it seems, are as much a part of our existence as joy and happiness. But where does faith fit into this narrative? How does it intertwine with our experiences of suffering? The Christian faith, like many other spiritual traditions, has grappled with this conundrum. Within its rich tapestry of teachings and reflections, we find a multitude of voices that have explored the intersection of faith and suffering. 5 of these voices, Correy Tenboom, Philip Yancey, C.S. Lewis, Tim Keller, and John Piper, offer profound insights into this enigma. Correy Tenboom, a beacon of hope amidst the atrocities of World War II, bore witness to the depths of human suffering, yet emerged with an unshakable faith. Philip Yancey, a contemporary author, wrestles with the paradox of a loving God in a world marred by pain. C.S. Lewis, a luminary of Christian literature, contemplates suffering as a divine megaphone, rousing a deaf world. Tim Keller, a modern-day pastor, emphasizes the ever-present God who walks with us through our darkest valleys. And John Piper, a preacher and author, explores the divine purpose behind suffering. Each of these authors, in their unique ways, grapples with the enigma of suffering and faith. They don't shy away from the hard questions, nor do they offer easy answers. Instead, they invite us on a journey that delves into the depths of pain, explores the heights of faith, and seeks to understand how these two seemingly contradictory aspects of human existence can coexist. So let's embark on this journey together. Let's delve into the profound insights these authors offer on the nature of suffering and the role of faith. Let's explore the enigma of suffering and faith, and perhaps in the process discover a deeper understanding of our own experiences. Join us as we delve into the profound insights of these authors on the nature of suffering and the role of faith. In the darkest depths of human suffering, Correy Tenboom found light. Her story, a testament to the resilience of faith in the face of atrocities, resonates with those who have ever questioned God's love amidst suffering. During the Holocaust, Tenboom, a devout Christian, and her family were arrested and sent to concentration camps for hiding Jews in their home. This was a time of unimaginable suffering, where every day was a struggle for survival. Yet, even in the midst of this dark chapter in human history, Tenboom found glimmers of God's love. In her book, The Hiding Place, Tenboom shares her experiences, painting a vivid picture of her trials and tribulations. But her story isn't just about the horrors of war, it's about the unwavering faith that carried her through it. She writes, "There is no pit so deep that God's love is not deeper still." These words echo the profound belief that even in the deepest abyss of human suffering, God's love is there, reaching out to us. But how can we see God's love in times of suffering? Tenboom's answer lies in her faith. She believed that God's love isn't just about the good times, it's about the tough times too. It's about finding strength when you feel weak, hope when you're in despair, and love when you're surrounded by hate. It's about understanding that suffering doesn't mean God has abandoned us. On the contrary, it's in those moments of pain that we may feel His love most profoundly. And so, Tenboom's story serves as a beacon of hope for all who navigate the stormy seas of suffering. It reminds us that even in our darkest moments, God's love is a constant, shining light. It's a love that transcends our earthly trials, offering comfort, hope, and solace. Even in our deepest pain, Tenboom assures us, God's love shines through. In the end, it's this unshakable belief in God's enduring love that can illuminate our path, guiding us through our darkest hours and leading us towards the light. Philip Yancey grapples with the paradox of a world full of suffering created by a loving God. This sentiment frames Yancey's exploration of the enigma of suffering, a question that has vexed humanity across the ages. Yancey delves into this paradox, acknowledging the dichotomy between a benevolent creator and the existence of pain. He doesn't shy away from the hard questions. Instead, he invites us into a deeper exploration of faith and suffering, challenging us to see beyond the immediate sting of pain to the potential growth it may stimulate. In his work, When Life Hurts, Yancey takes us on a journey through the valleys of suffering. He paints a picture of pain that is not easily dismissed or explained away. It's the pain that won't go away, the guilt that keeps coming back, the loneliness that neither friendship nor counseling can touch. These are the raw, unfiltered realities of human suffering. Yet within this stark landscape, Yancey also finds a silver lining, a glimmer of redemption. He suggests that suffering can be a divine path to growth and holiness. It's a challenging perspective, one that invites us to see our trials not as senseless afflictions, but as transformative experiences. In this view, the valley of shadows through which we walk is not a desolate wasteland, but a place where the shepherd guides us, where God has something to say to us. Our pain is not a meaningless torment, but a language through which we can come to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the divine. Yancey's perspective reframes suffering, turning it from a source of despair into a beacon of hope. It's an unexpected shift, a paradox that can be difficult to grasp. But in this paradox, we find a profound truth, that even in our deepest pain, we may find an unexpected path to growth and understanding. In our pain, Yancey suggests, we may find an unexpected path to growth and understanding. This paradox, this reframing of suffering, is perhaps one of the most transformative insights into the enigma of suffering and faith. It's a perspective that doesn't trivialize our pain, but rather dignifies it, giving it purpose and meaning in the larger context of our spiritual journey. For C.S. Lewis, suffering is not silent. It is a shout, a rousing call to a deeper understanding of God. This perspective may seem paradoxical, but it offers a transformative view of suffering. Rather than being a mere torment, Lewis proposes that suffering can be a catalyst for spiritual awakening. Lewis, a renowned Christian author, wrestled with the problem of pain in his seminal work, The Problem of Pain. Here he acknowledged that pain and suffering are integral parts of the human experience. These are not anomalies or errors, but rather intrinsic elements of our existence. But why would a loving God allow suffering in his creation? Lewis offers a profound answer. He writes, God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. In other words, suffering is not a sign of God's indifference or cruelty. On the contrary, it's his most powerful tool to grab our attention. When we are comfortable, we often become complacent. We take our blessings for granted and forget the divine source that bestows them. But when we suffer, we are jolted out of our complacency. We are compelled to seek answers, to find comfort, to search for meaning beyond our immediate circumstances. It is in these moments of intense vulnerability that we are most open to hearing God's voice. And what does this divine megaphone broadcast? It's a call to a deeper understanding of God, a reminder of our need for him. It's a wake-up call that invites us to seek solace in his love and mercy. It's an invitation to find purpose and meaning in our pain, to transform our suffering into a path towards spiritual growth. Lewis's perspective challenges us to rethink our understanding of suffering. Instead of viewing it as a burden to be avoided, we can see it as an opportunity for spiritual awakening, a loudspeaker through which God communicates his love and wisdom. In our pain, Lewis tells us, God is speaking loudly and clearly. In the deafening noise of our suffering, may we find the strength to listen. Tim Keller and John Piper bring us back to God's presence and purpose in the midst of our suffering. When we find ourselves in the throes of pain, it can feel as though we've been abandoned. But Tim Keller, a renowned Christian author, would argue otherwise. In his work, Walking with God Through Pain and Suffering, Keller paints a picture of a God who is not distant during our darkest hours, but rather deeply involved. He emphasizes that God walks alongside us, sharing in our pain and offering comfort in our suffering. Keller writes, "The Christian story begins with the consolation of God who comes to us in our suffering. This is a God who doesn't simply observe our suffering from afar, but who enters into it with us." Keller's insights remind us that even in our most difficult moments, we are not alone. God is there, present and caring, intimately familiar with our pain and ready to offer solace. John Piper, another influential Christian thinker, goes a step further, suggesting that suffering is not just something God is present in, but also something he purposefully designs for us. In his work, Don't Waste Your Cancer, Piper emphasizes that suffering, when viewed through the lens of faith, can serve as a means to display God's glory and sovereign purpose. He writes, "You will waste your cancer if you do not believe it is designed for you by God." This might be a challenging thought to digest. The idea that our suffering could have purpose, that it could be a part of God's greater plan, might seem overwhelming. But Piper's words offer a different perspective on pain. They suggest that our suffering is not meaningless, but rather a part of an intricate, larger narrative that God is weaving together. In our suffering, Keller and Piper remind us, God is present, purposeful, and glorified. These authors invite us to consider suffering not as a sign of God's absence, but as a testament to his profound involvement in our lives. They encourage us to see in our pain, not abandonment, but the very presence and purpose of God. Keller and Piper have provided us with a new perspective on suffering, one that brings God's presence and purpose into the heart of our pain. But how do we respond to this perspective? What can we do with this new understanding? As we navigate the treacherous waters of suffering, it's important to remember that we're not alone. Not only is God with us, but there are others around us who are also struggling. Sharing this message of God's presence and purpose in suffering can provide comfort and hope to those who are hurting. If this video has resonated with you and given you a fresh perspective on suffering, we encourage you to like and share it with others who may find it useful. Thanks for watching and for joining us on this journey. Your support means more than you know. And if you'd like to hear more messages like this one, subscribe to our channel. Until next time, God bless you.